WyoGives is a 24-hour day of online giving, supporting nonprofits across the state of Wyoming. It's our 5th annual WyoGives Day, which is a milestone. It also happens to fall on Statehood Day, which is July 10th. So we're super excited to be celebrating Wyoming and the spirit of giving on Wyoming Statehood Day.
WyoGives is an initiative of the Wyoming Nonprofit Network. The Wyoming Nonprofit Network is the official statewide association for nonprofits. Our mission is to amplify, cultivate, and advocate for Wyoming's nonprofits.
At the Wyoming Nonprofit Network, we believe WyoGives is a very important initiative. It's one day to celebrate Wyoming and for communities to come together and collaborate and support the nonprofit sector that does so much.
Live here, give here. Live here, give here.
Live here, give here.
Hello, everyone. Happy birthday to the state of Wyoming, 134 years young. That's what I'm going to say. And it is WyoGives Day. I'm Kathy Holman, Prairie Wife, and I'm your MC for the day, which means I'm going to be walking you through all the amazing things that are happening. And then just about every hour throughout the day, I get the opportunity to talk with some people that are parts of some of the great charities and organizations across the whole entire state that are active in this WyoGives Day. We have 380 charities that signed up for WyoGives. That means there are 380 organizations doing good work across the state of Wyoming that you can help. All you need to do is go to wyogives.org and donate any amount to any charity that you love. Yes, woohoo! Today is the day. You can see we're even interacting with you live throughout the day. So if you comment on any of our videos, we'll be able to pull it up, share your comment. So charities, if you're watching, this is a great way to remind people that you are part of WyoGives Day is by chatting and sharing us with us in the comments and letting us know that you are here. So again, if you're going to want to participate in WyoGives Day, you're going to want to make those donations through wyogives.org. You can go there and you can search charities either by name, if you know already the charity you want to donate to, or what sector they're in. For example, if you really have a heart for animals, you can go and find all the charities that are participating in WyoGives Day across the state that work with animals. Maybe early childhood education is something that's really important to you. They've got a list on there of all the charities that you can donate to, that you can help in that specific sector. And you can donate throughout the day. It's not just a one-time thing. There is a special prize at 307. Get it? 307, Wyoming, our area code, our birthday as a state. At 307 this afternoon, if you donate right then, you will be able to qualify for a prize. We're giving 3 of them. It's whoever gets closest to that 307 time. We have golden tickets that are given throughout the day. There's going to be 20 of those total throughout the entire day. So that's why we're encouraging you on WyoGives to give through the WyoGives website, because that's how that charity is going to qualify for all these golden tickets that we're doing throughout the day. And if you're interested in knowing who the winners are, as you can see, we're showing you the website right there. You can go there and check it out, see if your organization is a winner. We're also going to be having like a ticker tape that's at the top of our lives. So you're going to be able to see the donations as they come in. And occasionally throughout the day, we're going to have the people, oh, there it is right there, showing you an example of what that looks like. And you can see 348 out of the 380 organizations have received donations today. So it looks like there's a couple more that haven't received any. Again, use that comment section. We're going to be showing it. Charities, this is a way for you to drum up people's response. Let them know you exist. Let them know what you do. Do a shout out. Share these lives on your page so people can see what's going on. So we've been talking a lot about community today and how Wyoming really knows how to work together to get stuff done. Let's face it, when we first became a state 134 years ago, that was all about survival. You had to work with your community. If you were living in a tar paper shack in the middle of the prairie and trying to make it through your first February. And now we just really understand here in Wyoming, better together is the name of the game. So along that idea of community and working together, we have our next interviewee, our interviewee of the hour. It is Miss Melissa Noah. Chris, my man behind the scenes, can we get Melissa on here? And we're going to kick off our interview. Hi, Melissa. How are you?
Good morning. It's nice to see you.
It is so nice to see you this morning. Have you had your coffee? Are you ready to go?
Well, I talk really fast anyway, so I kept my caffeine low so that I didn't talk too fast on the interview. So I'm so excited. Just a little bit of excitement's all I need to talk about what we do. I don't need that much caffeine.
Love it. So let's kick off. Can you tell me the name of your organization and what you do for Wyoming and its people?
Yes. So we are Wyoming Housing Network. We are a nonprofit organization that helps strengthen Wyoming communities by providing quality resources and opportunities for housing. So we do that two different ways. One is that we develop affordable housing. And so we own apartment buildings, income-based apartment buildings around the state. So we are looking to develop, build, acquire, and rehab. We're just rehabbing 127 units of housing here in Casper. So we actually create capacity for housing. And then the second way that we do that is, oh, that's so cute.
I know, isn't that fun? It's like so fun to have everything pop up.
And then the second way we do that is we are the only HUD certified housing counseling agency in the state. So we do serve the entire state. And we have a homebuyer education program, a foreclosure prevention program, rental and eviction prevention program. We do reverse mortgage counseling. And we also do financial education classes. And so we believe through education, if you empower people with information, but not just that, with hope and support as well, then they can reach their housing goals. So our mission is very broad, which allows us to serve in a lot of different ways. So.
Well, and I think it's great too that we were able to have you on because you really are across the entire state of Wyoming, and we'll get into some more details about that later. So before I start asking you more questions about your organization and what you do, can you just tell me what's your job? And I want to know your favorite thing about your job and your least favorite thing about your job.
So I am the executive director here. And that's quite a privilege for me. So that is just a joy every day. We have a wonderful team, very mission driven. So I think my favorite thing about my job is that we all deal in hope. Every day we help someone. And so that's really, really powerful to be connected to, bringing hope to our communities and those who are struggling. And so that's my favorite thing. I think my least favorite thing is the worry. There's always the worry. The needs in housing are wide and they are deep. And every day we want to help people. And so it's always that worry of how do we do it better? How do we reach more people? Where are we going to get our funding from? All of those different things, that worry is probably my least favorite piece. But it's very motivating, just like the hope is very motivating.
Okay, so Chris says he wants to see your lid, as the kids say, your hat.
Yes,
oh, it's got your logo, Wyoming Housing right there.
So
and I think it was
our staff are wearing our WyoGives t-shirts today, and then we all got some trucker hats because it is Wyoming and we like a good road trip every now and then. So
trucker hats are always going to be in Wyoming. And then I think it was another M name. So I'm thinking Melissa had commented that she loves that your mission is statewide and that you're helping. Oh, Manuela, I beg your pardon. I got the wrong name there. Manuela said working for the mission statewide. Amber, that's amazing. Love that mission. You're giving people homes, right? So let's talk about this because I have some questions. I have to be honest. I feel like we could just read comments and banter back and forth with the public the whole entire time.
Right now is what we should be doing.
Forget the questions I wrote. Forget them. Let's just talk to people in the comments. I love it. So Wyoming Housing Network has income restricted housing all across the state of Wyoming, Cheyenne, Powell, Torrington, Riverton. But I have to be honest, I do not understand what income restricted housing means or how it allows us as a state to provide homes for people in need. So talk to me. What is income restricted housing? Because I know there's lots of other people that aren't familiar with it. So talk to me. Okay. What is it? Educate us.
educate you in layman's terms, because housing has a lot of its own
Yes.
language, which I
Yeah.
think can be confusing for people when they're trying to understand. So basically, we serve low to moderate income families, and how they determine low to moderate, we follow HUD and WCDA's guidelines that are posted for that. And it's based on what's called area and media income. So the AMI of the area. So they take the average income and they say, if you make 80% or 60% or 30%, you qualify for this type of housing. Now, when we develop that type of housing, we get additional funding or subsidies because we're serving those low to moderate income families. So if you think about a house or an apartment, right, it costs money to build it, costs a lot of money. And so the mortgage or the payment or the rent that you charge for that has to be able to cover your debt for that, your construction costs, and your upkeep and your operations. And so when we get that program, that subsidy, we use low-income housing tax credit quite a bit. There's home funds from HUD. There's also a National Housing Trust Fund. There's different funding types out there. Most of them are federal. When we get the money in to build that property, promising to serve low-income individuals, and then we can maintain that property at those incomes, those rental incomes that are coming in. So typically they're not more than the important part here when we talk about understanding housing and the impacts of rising housing costs and how difficult it is to afford housing is that housing shouldn't really be more than 30% of your income. So that all of your housing costs. And so that's the other piece, is finding individuals, making sure that the rent that they're paying and their housing costs are less than 30% of their income, so that it's sustainable, so that they can avoid homelessness and some of those kind of things.
So I'm going to clarify for understanding. The teacher in me
please
is coming out here.
Very complicated.
So income restricted housing means people that are at a certain income level or lower that has determined to be people that need support if they are going to have a home, right? That they can't just do it on their own. Those are the people that qualify for that housing. And then you have is it a sliding fee? Does it depend on what they make for what they pay? Or is it just a set rent that you know for sure they're going to be able to pay based on the numbers that you crunched?
Yeah. So that yes and yes. So that doesn't really answer your question. So it's there's a whole world out there that computes and figures out kind of what someone's income would be. But those are it. So we're given maximum rents that we can charge at our properties. Okay. And so that's the maximum we can charge. Now, if we have someone who comes in, depending on the program and the property, if they come in and that's still more than 30% of their income, then they only pay what is 30% of their income. They don't pay the extra bit. And there's different ways that that's covered. There's voucher programs out there. There's a few different ways that people can qualify for income-based housing. So.
Okay. And they can do that through you and other organizations like yours across the entire state. They can say, I need help. I'm going to go off script. Can you handle this?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can.
What happens if we have someone that's watching or knows someone that's in the gray area where they make too much money to qualify for the low income housing, but they don't have enough where they can actually find the appropriate home that they need for their family?
Well, Kathy, what you're hitting on is a huge issue in the state. So that's called kind of our missing middle, our workforce housing, right? So that's probably between around 80% to 120% of AMI really is struggling right now to find housing everywhere in the state. So all of the nonprofits that are part of WyoGives here are stepping into that gap. They're trying to figure out, our nonprofits serve low to moderate income, so that 60 and below. Above that is really a challenge everywhere right now. And so that's a great question. This is what gets us up every day to see how can we help solve these problems. And part of that is capacity in both our housing and our apartments and rental area. So you'll find a lot of the communities right now are working very hard to try and figure out how to fill that gap. So I don't have an answer, but that's why we exist, because that's where, and the nonprofits here, a lot of the funding that comes for that to help with housing comes from federal funds or the tax credit program. And then that is really restricted to low income. And so when you start to talk about what about that gray area, what about people who need it here, there's really nothing in that gap. That's where your nonprofits need support and they need help, because there's really no other state funding. There's nothing else that exists. So your nonprofits are trying to create miracles, all the time with limited support. And so that's a great question. I wish I had the solution, but we are working on it. So a lot
I
of
think
that comes down to collaboration.
you just said the solution though, right? That there's nonprofits that have seen that and they've stepped in, and at WyoGives.org, you can specifically go to a category in there and find all the nonprofits that are working with the housing sector, and you can donate to them today, and maybe they'll be the one to get the prize because you donated. Maybe they'll have some matching funds thanks to some other things that are a big part of what WyoGives Day does. So that was perfect. I think you answered it wonderfully. So speaking of all the different layers, the names, all the things that you need to know, there are so many things that come into being a homeowner: financing, paperwork, knowing what a realistic budget is like. Just talk to my husband. He's going to say, I don't even know what that is. How do housing organizations like yours help first-time homeowners like tackle all that work that has to happen before you can even own a home?
Right. So that is our homebuyer education program. We actually provide all the first-time homebuyer education for WCDA here in the state. So any new first-time homebuyers are taking advantage of their product or their down payment assistance or any of those kind of programs has to go through our housing counseling. And it has to do with quite a few different things. There are a lot of steps in there, right? And that's the deal. Home ownership can feel overwhelming. And so being educated on who the key partners are, where are the key places, being protected from predatory lending, that's a big part of homebuyer education. That we're required through our HUD certification to do a budget. I have one counselor who hates the word budget, so she calls it a spending plan. So yeah.
Oh,
so
I actually like that better too.
It's a spending
I like
plan.
that so much better.
But part of our, again, I've mentioned it before, your housing cost shouldn't be more than 30% of your total income, because that's a tipping point. Once someone's into 35, 40, we have people out there paying 50% of their income just for their housing, whether that's rental or mortgage. That's a tipping point. It's one medical emergency, one change in profession, one loss of hours at work, and all of a sudden you have people who are now looking at homelessness potentially because of an emergency, because they're cost burdened in their housing. And so that's part of our role as well in there when we work with people, is to help them really understand the responsibilities of home ownership, make sure that they're making a wise choice. We guide and we give advice. We don't tell people what to do, but we hope to educate them so that they can make the best decisions for themselves and their family. So it's actually our process is we have an online course that 6 to 8 hours, and that we just talked about how complicated housing is, right? That lays the framework of all the terms and the partners, the appraiser, what does that look like? Your inspections, who should you have, the partnership with your realtor, your lender, right? There, it's a lot of information. So we use that to create common understanding and common knowledge. And then we meet one-on-one with that person. Every situation is different. And so we do close to 900, we've done upwards of 1,600 of those appointments a year, one-on-one with people. And the cool thing is everyone's different, because everyone's situation's different, their excitement's different, their goals are different. And so then we meet one-on-one and we really dig into their specific scenario. We share homeowner resources, we do that budget, we talk about wealth building, because home ownership is the number one way to build generational wealth and stronger communities.
Well, and that's what I was thinking as you were chatting away about all these different aspects, is you're not just saying, okay, we're going to help you fill out the paperwork, here's your home. You're actually educating them so they can continue to grow their financial intelligence as they move forward. And I'm guessing too that quite a few people that participate in your programs, they're breaking a cycle. They might be the first person ever in generations to own a home. And then let's think about what that means to the future of their family, to their kids. And that's incredibly powerful. And teaching them all these things, guess what they're going to be talking to their friends about? They're going to be educating their kids about it. So I think that's such a beautiful layer to what you and organizations like yours do for homeowners. But let's talk about renting for a minute. Many people are interested in renting rather than being a homeowner. So what advice do you have for someone that needs help picking the right type of rental house?
Right. So our rental counselor, housing, whether it's home or rental, there's some basic foundational things that are the same. And one of those really is understanding your budget and understanding what you can afford. And so we really want to start with where people are at and make sure they understand, so they're looking in the right places, that they understand all the costs that come along with rentals, especially first time renters. So people starting out initially, understanding deposits, understanding tenant rights, understanding fair housing, understanding your responsibilities as a renter, the importance of rental insurance, things like that. So it's more than just let me find a place and let me get into the place. We want to make sure they're in a position where that's a springboard to the housing continuum. So we'd always want someone going into rental to have this idea of the dream of home ownership is real. And so the how you set yourself up, again, not being cost burden, not paying too much for your right, those kind of things long term have an effect because you can save, you need an emergency fund, all of those kind of things that help people be stable in their housing.
Well, let's talk about too, I mean, the fact that once you have people that have this mindset and are educated in this way, they're going to continue to grow and be stronger parts of our community as a whole. I mean, it just is all connected. It's not just about a place to sleep. And I know we had a couple comments while we were chatting from unaccompanied student initiative. Is that what it was? The unaccompanied. I have to apologize because my screen is fuzzy right now, so I can't read it. Melissa, can you read it?
Mine is a little fuzzy too. We're so grateful for the work Wyoming Housing Network provides statewide. So that's really nice. Thank you.
Yeah, unaccompanied students initiative.
Over the years, we work with the high schools. We've worked to bring financial education and understanding rental to. We have a little packet that we give out or share when a young person or someone first time looking at I'm getting ready to rent. How do I do this? So we have resources to share, and our counselors can meet with them. So that was really nice. But it is again, housing wides are deep and needs are deep and wide. So how do we help our youth transitioning? How do we help our elderly? How do we help families? All of those things, and that financial education and understanding the responsibilities of home ownership and rental are really important. So.
And it's just going to grow our entire community. And I just appreciate you too, Melissa. You are so knowledgeable about what you do. Thank you for taking the time to educate me. And I'm sure if I had questions, that there are people that are watching this that just have a better understanding of a whole, not only of what you do, but of the need that we have. So again, if this is something that you're thinking, okay, I want to take my dollars today and help out people that need support in this area, just go to WyoGives.org and you can see there's a whole category that's going to deal with housing and helping people out. So Melissa, as we wrap up, ma'am, what does WyoGives mean to you?
WyoGives, I'm born, raised in Wyoming. So I'm a Wyoming girl, and I just absolutely love that we celebrate our statehood. But that really what this highlights for everyone is how many organizations are out there working for the betterment of our community to make Wyoming better for Wyoming Nights and anyone else who's coming here to live. It's a great way, it's not just about the fundraising piece. It's about the amplification of all of our work. It's about you keep talking about community, and I want to be like, I could give the shout out to the 14 other nonprofits that we partner with, right, in housing, our Habitat.
Do it right now. Give us name drop
our
a couple of them
right now. Our rescue mission, that whole spectrum here for housing, where we talk from homelessness to stability to renting to home ownership to aging in place and wealth building. This is a continuum of housing, and it's all represented here in Wyoming at WyoGives. And so it's really great kind of just to celebrate and see all our partners and just really be proud of the team we have, but also all the community teams that we work with. We rely on community actions. We rely on United Way, Natrona Collective Health Trust. We rely on our other nonprofit partners because we're in this together. So that really was kind of your theme of community, but that really is what WyoGives, I think, is demonstrating here. So
no, I totally agree. Melissa, thank you so much for your time, your expertise, your knowledge. Hopefully people that are watching this know now to use you as a resource and all the other charities that you work with, you mentioned, that are in that housing sector. Melissa, have a fabulous WyoGives Day, ma'am.
Yeah, live here, give here. So we love it. Thanks, Kathy. It's so nice to see you. And we're excited to see what happens throughout the day. So have a
Yes,
great day.
ma'am. Hi,
Hi.
Tess. How are you?
How's it going?
Good. So you have some prizes to give away and some
I
exciting
do.
information to tell us, right?
Yeah. I this is the first time I've ever been on staff for this side of things, and we're just losing our mind. Can you believe that we've hit some milestones already before 9 a.m.?
I
So
can.
I've been
Wyoming's
anxiously
amazing.
waiting to talk to you. Anxiously waiting. Okay, so the first, the big one that I'm going to give away right now is our $1 million milestone prize. We actually hit this milestone before 9 a.m. Before 9 a.m. Wild.
Is that a record?
So,
Can we pretend it's a record, even if
I'm
it might
going
not
to
be?
pretend Jody will tell us the right record, but you and I right now can go ahead and say we're going to celebrate just like it is. So
Absolutely.
this is, for those of you who may not be as familiar with what this prize is, this goes to the organization that receives the online donation on the website that takes our tally over $1 million. And so we are really excited to celebrate the Wyoming Hunger Initiative. They are our $1 million milestone prize. Yeah.
Oh, Jenny Gordon's going to be excited.
I know. It's really exciting. And it's crazy. I'm telling you about the $1 million milestone, but look, we're already at 1.2 million. And so we'll keep checking back all day with more updates, but thanks for letting us celebrate with you.
I am so excited. Thanks for everything you're doing, both in front of the camera and off camera today. Again, that was Tess from the Wyoming Nonprofit Network. They're the team that is behind WyoGives Day.
The 5th annual WyoGives is made possible through the support of our partners. Our incentive pool partner is the Hughes Charitable Foundation. Our lead bison sponsor is Wells Fargo. Our Jade sponsor is Blue Cross Blue Shield of Wyoming. Our Meadowlark sponsor is EOG Resources. And our media partners are Wyoming PBS, Yesco, Wyoming Public Media, WyoFile, Checked In Media, and Town Square.
Hi, I'm so happy to have Katie Rollison with Wells Fargo with us today to talk to us about WyoGives. Katie, as you know, this is our 5th annual event, and Wells Fargo has been with us since the beginning as a sponsor. So what inspired Wells Fargo to support WyoGives each year?
This event is so amazing in the Wyoming community, and it really helps to raise awareness and the work of the nonprofits that are doing great things in the community. It's an event that our team looks forward to each year, and we've been proud to support it for the past 5 years.
I know that you have some specific priorities you look in funding from Wells Fargo. When you support nonprofits, how does WyoGives align with those priorities?
Wells Fargo has a focused approach to making a difference in our Wyoming communities. We support 4 areas of focus, and WyoGives helps us to support the nonprofits that are making housing more attainable, creating a more sustainable future, building more businesses, and empowering financial futures. Our Wells Fargo team also is very passionate about and volunteers in our community, so this is a way for us to give back through the organizations that are participating in WyoGives.
Thank you for sharing that information. On behalf of Wells Fargo and the Wyoming employees, what kind of message would you like to share to the 380 organizations participating, as well as the Wyoming community in general?
So Wells Fargo, we're the bank of putting our people and our communities first. And this is a great way for us to be involved through WyoGives to support all the many organizations that are participating in the day. They do such great things to really make a more sustainable future for all in Wyoming.
Well, Katie, thanks again for your support and partnership. It's been wonderful working with you. I can't believe it's 5 years, but we're so happy to have your partnership again this year and excited to see where we land for WyoGives 2024.
Great, and thank you to your team because you do such an amazing job.
Thanks.